Welcome everybody, welcome back to Wu Dao. This is the first Xiao tutorial number 1. Today we're going to be going through a basic song just played for you called the 4 Seasons. We're going to be going through basic rhythm, we're going to be going over some of that notation that we went over in the introduction, doing some of your half beats, and doing some sustained notes as well. If you are just joining right now and some of that is already jumping a little bit in the deep end, be sure to go back and check out the introduction video. It's a little bit longer. But it's going to take you through history, nomenclature, like the name of the flute itself. Then it's going to take you through the classic notation, the differences in the different structures of the flutes themselves, the different keys, just a broad description to introduce you and initiate you to this flute. But if you've already watched that and you're joining us through it, okay, we're going to keep moving forward and we're going to learn this new rhythm track and kind of break it down step by step, reiterating some of those basic steps we went over, and getting you playing this track step by step. One thing I can't stress enough though, if you did watch the introduction video and now you're watching this one right after, which is the way we want to do, we want to learn the next track, we want to learn the next song, I cannot stress enough how important it is to go over those basic sheets included in the description. I'm going to drop them in this link as well. Check out the website, create some of your own patterns if you're starting to understand the notation, and just get the sustained notes clear, get the changes clear, get the notation in your head so you know where the finger should be and which number. And all this is going to seem a lot simpler if you do that. So I can't stress that enough. Keep going over the basics. Just because you went over them doesn't mean you've mastered them. And make sure you really hone that skill, because that's going to be the biggest improvement. Getting started, the song we're going to be throwing up on the screen today is going to be called 4 Seasons. It's a really, really beautiful Japanese melody. It's very short and sweet. I won't get the name pronounced exactly right, but it's Shiki no Uta. And it's a really, really nice song. I'll leave a link in the description for the video on YouTube where you can listen to the singing of the song. And it's really sweet. It's just a couple of different verses that repeat with the same main composition throughout, which we're replacing with the flute. It's a really, really great track. The melody is really catchy, and what you're going to find is that this is a really good song to kind of introduce the tempo. Okay, so what are we going over today? Today we're going over basic rhythm, we're going over sustained notes, we're going over half beats, and we're going over this middle scale and repeating notes as well. Okay, so a couple different things to get started off from this one. So if you look at the basic notation for this, you're going to see how it's 80 beats per minute, 4 beats per bar, as well as in the first bracket you see a lot of underlined notation. So off right at the bat you've got some whole notes and you've got some half notes. We don't have anything double underlines, so there's no quarter notes, there's no eighth notes, so we're just sticking with half for right now. What you are going to notice over those 2 first bars is you have a bracket including the whole thing. What this means is just this is one breath out, okay? So when you see that, you're going to know, okay, this is all one exhale, one continuous blow. Then at the end, okay, we have 1 dash, so that's a sustained note, which will be different than the 3 6s followed by each other. So those aren't sustained. Even though it's the same note, we're going to separate them by tapping into the note again. And then the V at the end of those 2 bars, okay, inhale and reset for the next 2. So the song's very nicely categorized. We have 4 beats, 2 bars as 1 breath. So you have this nice 4-part song, 4-part verse in a track. When we get ready to play, we're going to notice a couple things. Right off the bat, we have mi, re. So we have this note that is followed by the same note, okay? So when you have things like that, again, it's one breath, it's continuous. You can't stop and play the note again. You don't want to take your flute and do a okay? This is like this is not how you play flute. Flute is a continuous blow, okay? We have that bracket across the top. So when we play, okay, we're going to take it and we're going to slow it way down and we're going to explain it, okay? So when we have this, okay, we're going to take our metronome out, we're going to place it down to, we're going to drop it down to 60, okay, get started. So we have this nice slow rhythm, okay? When we get into it, okay, we're going to walk through it like this. Once it gets around, notice there is you notice when you repeat the notes, okay, it sustains. And what we do is we do what we call just a tap, okay? So you tap the note below it one time. So in the case of the mi, we just do, and you want to make sure that you're doing that without pressing, okay? You don't want to press and make it a beat. You don't want to go, okay, now you've made it a quarter note. You've made it too long. So it's really just a tap, just flutter just enough to put pressure on and come off. Don't push, okay? Don't push the notation. Tap, tap. Then the same thing goes with when you get down to the la at the end, you're going to tap the note below, so we still have a note. One thing, if you do get like notes that are, for example, like the sol, if you ever get this notation, you can flutter a note above it. So if we had like a 5 repeating, we could do this, okay? For now in this track, we don't have that. The only ones we have is we have mi, we have la, and we have fa. Okay, so we have a 4. This will be a little different. You're going to actually tap the thumb on the back for those parts. Okay, so you can see that in the second and the third bracket. Okay, so we have this. So if we break that down again, we see it. We get ready. Okay, so you can see that. You can see that right away, how you've got the la, 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 and you've got the tap, tap. And the last one is the dash, so that's sustain, carry, okay? And those are low notes, so you're just going to drop down as deep as you can and carry those over, okay? Then in the second bracket, when you get to the fa, you're going to have so there you have sustain on the mi on the very last note. So you have 4 beats of just mi. Okay, you have that just sustained out. And then after 4 beats, a small inhale. Don't inhale too long to where you're going to miss your beat. So the metronome is a really great tool to keep by you, to kind of keep reiterating that. And then you're just going to carry through the song, okay? A lot of this is just going to be repetition. Once you get used to the track, you get it in your head, just repetition, okay? So you see the sustains, you see the basic notation, the half notes, okay, and the taps. Those are going to be the most important to go over. So keep going over this one. We'll break it down. We'll play it a couple times together, okay? And you ready? Get like 60. So now, play the song a couple times. Get used to it at the lower pace. Break it down into sections. Maybe do the first part, repeat, second part, repeat, so on. When we get to the whole thing, okay, and you start feeling comfortable with that, okay, now we're going to bring it back up to your regular 80, okay? So, once we get to 80, now we have the full track. So we go through it like this. Find your rhythm, breathe. Okay, so notice as I go through that song, not trying to do any flair, not trying to do any, okay, you've got other techniques, like you've got the tremolo where you actually flutter the breathing and kind of like change the volume a little bit, or you've got like glissando where you've got these like pull off slows or flutter on the notes, these little stylistic points, or speeding up, slowing it down, changing notation a little bit. All of that stuff is going to come later, okay, that's going to be in later songs. But you can always go back and kind of play with it. But in the beginning, you really want to make sure that you're just sticking with whole sounds, very clean changes and transitions. Because you don't want to add too much in there and get the rhythm off in your head because you're playing it with too much technique, okay? Just hit it just like it's put in the notation, okay? Don't try to do anything special, breathe on time, stay with the rhythm. You can change the pace, okay, slow it down a little bit, speed it up a little bit, go through it like this is really nice. And then later as we go through the next couple of tracks, we're going to go through some low notes, we're going to go through longer tracks and different variety throughout the track. So that's going to be really nice to kind of get you started. Stick with this 4 seasons. In the next video we're going to be going through a song called The Descendants of the Dragon. It's a very famous Chinese track to get you acquainted with those low notes. In the beginning it's going to be really easy to get these middle notes because that's higher breath. It's a little bit stronger of a push, so it's a little bit more crisp and clear. The low notes are probably going to be driving you crazy in the beginning, so we're going to hit those in the next song so you have a song that you can kind of practice the rhythm of going through those as well. Okay, so that's tutorial number 1, taking you through 4 seasons. Couple bases to go through. In the next track we're going to be going through Descendants of the Dragon, which will be a really good track to get you acquainted with the low notes. But make sure you get the notation for this in the description below. Listen to the original track, I'll link that as well, and keep hitting those basics. Go over the notation as much as you can and get used to the finger patterns. If you do have any questions, something is not clear, leave a comment, like and subscribe. The next video will be coming out shortly and we'll be going through that step by step. Okay? Happy practicing.